Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. First of all, my name is Syahir bin Suyab. I'm from School of Computing, a software engineering student, and my supervisor is Encik Harudin bin Abdul Majid. In this video, I would like to present about my final year project 2. The title of my project is Johor Port Entry Pass System. So this is the content that I will talk about in my presentation from chapter 1 until chapter 6. So for chapter 1, I have collaborated with Johor Port for this final year project. Currently, Johor Port have a system called Security and Safety System, also called as SNS system, which is mainly used for entry pass management throughout the Johor Port sites. However, the current system have several problems which need to be revamped and redesigned into a new system. Some example of the problem in the current states are like slowness of the process of issuing an entry pass and inconsistency of database record. For example, there is no option for registering a new company if the client want to register an issue pass into the system. So they had to do it manually by sending a message through WhatsApp or Telegram into the ICT department. And then the programmer in ICT department had to manually key in the new company data into the database. So Johor Port have given me a task to revamp their current existing SNS system into a new system called Johor Port Entry Pass System. So the aim of this project is to develop and redesign Johor Port Entry Pass System based on the stakeholder requirement and also to manage the system to be more organized and well structured. So basically, this project is mainly used for Johor Port staff and client of Johor Port, and it is not for public use, and the target area are only inside of Johor Port. In FYP 1, I have done several research about a similar system based on the Asian Pass like the SNS system. There are CB Secure Pass system and also Threshold system. This is the official comparison between those systems. For the chapter 3, for this project, I have used Rational Unified Process, which is called RUP. There is 4 phases in RUP. In my final year project 1, I have done the inception phase and also the elaboration phase. So for my final year project 2, I have successfully executed the 3rd phase of RUP, which is construction phase. I have developed the actual system and running a test on the system. I also have completed and submitted the report for the project. The hardware that I use is a normal laptop for my coding and testing. For software, I have used Windows as my OS and several software apps and tools to help me throughout my system development and design, such as Photoshop to design and edit several images. For JavaScript framework, I have used a few jQuery coding in my system. And for the backend, I use PHP language and MySQL as a database. I also have used XAMPP to run localhost on my laptop. Lastly, I also have uploaded my system into a free server in the internet, and I use 000 web host to hosting my system. So for the chapter 4, I will talk about my use case. This is the use case for my project. Based on the use case, I have 2 users, which are client and staff. Mainly, client only have a few access into the system because they are like a customer in the system. They are only allowed to request or apply for an issuance pass, while the requested issuance pass will be reviewed by the staff of Johor Port. In here, we can see that the client only access to register, login, apply issuance pass and manage their own profile, while the Johor Port staff or an admin have the whole access of use case to be managed. So without further ado, let's move on to the chapter 5 demonstration of the system. I have run the system in a free server which called 000 web host, and this is the link URL to the server. So for my use case, which is register use case, when we click here, This is the registration page where users are able to register, but the account cannot be directly used for login. Instead, they require an admin or staff of Johopod to approve the account first. Next, for the login use case, here is the login page where all the user can see. It requires to do a captcha to log in. Otherwise, the user are not allowed to log in and access the system. For example, I log in into my admin account. It will direct to the dashboard of the system. Next, we will talk about the manage profile use case. For the manage profile use case, is here. Is where it will show the user details and they are able to edit their user data. They can edit their profile, changing their name and also email address. Next, for the apply Asian Pass use case. In this use case, the system have two options, which are VEP and also PEP. VEP stands for Visitor Entry Pass, while PEP stands for Permanent Entry Pass. So, VEP is mainly for clients that are not permanent, are usually visited the Johor site for a while, maximum of 30 days from the date of applying the pass. For example, a group of meeting inside Johor or invitation letter of interview that usually take only 1 or 2 days of pass. PEP, in the other hand, is mainly used for a permanent client of Johor that usually take about 3 months or 2 years of 1 years of pass. Next is manage issuance pass use cases. Here, in the issuance pass pages, all the pass that have been applied by the client will go through here. Admin or staff of Johor can review all the pass in here. For example, if there are pending status pass, admin can click it and it will redirect to the detail of the pass. Admin have the option to approve or reject the pass. Plus, admin also have the option to edit some detail if there is a mistaken or misspelling in the details that need to be changes. When an admin approve the pass, it will pop up the menu for payment details. Currently, Johor still manage the payment offline or manually, and this system also are using the manual method. So, in order to receive the payment from client, they need to come to the counter of Johor and ask for entry pass approval. If we watch here, there is an RNU number which act like a ticket number. When a client apply for VEP or PEP, they will receive this RNU number to be given at the counter, and staff of Johor will then search for the RNU number and approve the entry pass. For example, if the client comes to the counter and admin search the RNU number, it will go here, and then the payment will be made manually. Next use case is manage safety use case. In some situation, a certain location involve a safety requirement to visit it due to a dangerous hazard or restricted place that only authorized person can go there. For example, this user apply for an issuance pass and want to go to a specific places such as admin office. This place require a user to have a safety certificate, or they call it declaration form, to represent that the user is authorized to go in a specific place. Otherwise, they can only have an access to go only for a non-restricted places. So for example, if they going to non-specific places, it doesn't require the safety certificate. So how to get this safety certificate or declaration form to be exact? Firstly, the client have manually request for an admin to register them for declaration form, and then the admin can add their IC number into the system to get their declaration form. For example, the user with IC number user 113 and the full name. So for example, the user want to have a safety briefing on this date and submit it. After we click submit button, the data will be registered in the system, and user have to come to the office at the date given for a safety briefing. It is more like a brief interview for 5 minutes speech per session about safety requirement. And then after finish the safety briefing, then user will be accepted through here. This is the data of the interview, and then they can resume to apply any of the restricted places. For example, just now we cannot register the user. Now if we go to the admin office, it will be enabled for the user to register at this place location. Next, the manage OPR product use case. OPR is a short form for open receipt product, which means that Johor Port not only manage the Asian Pass, but also selling some other stuff. For example, the lanyard, the car sticker, and other form of product at the counter. So this is the page to manage all kind of product and their prices. Admin can add product, view product, and also edit product, and also delete product. Next, for the purchase of PR product, which is here. In these pages, it is mainly used for purchasing the product sales in the list just now. Here is the example of the receipt that the customer has purchased in the system. This is the customer information and also the product that customer have buy from the counter. If there is a client that want to buy something, staff of Johor Port can click add receipt button and fills in the customer information along with the product that the client wants to buy. For example, if the client want to buy this item, it will pop up here. Here is the details of the purchasing, and the payment is still will be made manually. Next is the manage blacklist use cases. Here is the list down of all the blacklist user in the system with their details. For example, if we click this user, it shows us to the reason of the blacklist user and the date of the blacklist, and who is registered them as the blacklist. In this case, admin is registered him as a blacklist user. Okay, so here add blacklist button, admin or staff of Johor Port user can add a new blacklist user by filling in their details, the information, and the blacklist information. So once the user is blacklisted in the system, they are no longer able to apply for an Asian Pass. For example, the user name blacklist 1 and the IC number of blacklist this one want to register for the PEP. Let's try. So this is the IC number. When we search, this user cannot be registered because he have been blacklisted. Here, it will redirect to these pages. So the last use case is generate report use cases. For this use case, it have extended to 3 small use cases, which is this. Actually, entry pass and entry receipt is the same use case but separated by the status data. Entry pass will view all the entry pass registered in the system, whereas the entry receipt will view only the entry pass that has been approved and paid. The rest, which is open receipt and the blacklist, will view their respective details. So for this use case, the system are able to generate a collection of reports for admin based on the selection here. For example, the admin want to view an entry pass with the report date chosen for the daily report. For example, we want to view the yearly report of 2020. It will require you to download the PDF file, and this is the example of the generated report. This will generate a report in PDF format, which then the admin are able to print. Okay, for the last chapter, which is chapter 6, conclusion. So at the end of this project, I have successfully developed a Johor Port entry pass system that met the specification and requirements given in the early stages. Besides, after development phase of this system has finished, I also done a testing to ensure that the system will run according to the specific requirement. So for the suggestion of this system, my suggestion for improvement in the later phase is, firstly, in the future, QR code technology is a must feature that need to be embedded in the issuance pass to make the process of issuing and waiting time a lot more efficient. Next, maybe include multiple language features in the system, since the system of Johor Port user comes from other countries. That feature may greatly help to improve the user experience on using the system in the future. Lastly, the online payment method. It is widely used in every system nowadays, so the online payment features is a must have features in the system to make the process of buying and selling to be more efficient. So I think that's all for my demonstration. I hope that I have explained well on all those use cases and the actual system. That's all for my presentation. Thank you very much.